While people are coming on, I just want to tell everybody that this workshop is being recorded. And if you could please introduce yourself in the chat, just put your name, the company you're representing, something about the work your company does, and any contact information you want to share with the other participants. You can also see the participant list in the portal for this event. And throughout the workshop, when I'm giving a presentation, if you have any questions, you can please put those in the chat and we'll get to those at the end. I can't see the chat while I'm talking, so somebody will moderate that. Hi everyone, it's 11:02 according to my clock. I'm just going to wait another minute or two. If you recently joined, this is being recorded. Please put all your information in the chat to introduce yourself in terms of your name, your company, what your company does, and how you would like to be contacted by others from this workshop. And you can also see the list of participants in the portal for the workshop. Tiffany, what do you think? Are we about at the numbers of people you think? Give it more time.
I think you're good to start. You have 13 right now.
Okay. All right. Great. Welcome, everyone. My name is Shannon Cairns, and I lead the project management office at the in the engineering division at the Port of San Francisco. And so I'm going to be talking about capital construction projects that we have coming up. Just one more reminder that this is being recorded, and please put all your contact info in the chat for people to be able to contact you. And if questions come up while I'm going through the presentation, I can't see the questions or the chat while I'm talking, so please put them in there and we will get to them at the end of the presentation. Thank you very much. So this is the mission and the vision of the Port of San Francisco. So we manage the waterfront as a gateway to a world-class city and advance environmentally and financially sustainable maritime recreation and economic opportunities to serve the city, Bay Area region, and California. Our vision is to deliver vibrant and diverse waterfront experiences that enrich the city and San Francisco Bay. I also want to highlight that equity is a core value of the Port, and we're committed to advancing racial equity. We're working to eliminate racial disparity in our policies, processes, decisions, and resource allocations. In order to do that, we have a racial equity action plan that outlines our steps, objectives, and goals to advance our vision to be an anti-racist organization and to be a partner to communities that are adjacent to port properties. So here are the 5 general regions. Speaking of port properties, we have, you kind of have to turn your head, I guess, this way, because north is to the left on this slide, and the blue and the green and gray areas here show our properties. So just starting from the north on the left, we go from Aquatic Park to Pier 39, which is Fisherman's Wharf. Moving south, we have the Northeast Waterfront, which is from Pier 35 to Pier 14. That includes the ferry building and Pier 1, which is the port's office. And maybe this is not news to anybody, but I just like to say that at the ferry building is where we switch from odd piers to even piers. So anything north or to the left of the ferry building is an odd numbered pier, and anything to the right or south is an even numbered pier. So moving south into the even numbered piers from the Northeast Waterfront, we have South Beach area, which goes from Rincon Park to the ballpark. South of there, we have our Mission Bay area, which is China Basin to Mariposa Street. And then the furthest south is our Southern Waterfront, which starts at Crane Cove Park, which I hope people have gotten to see Crane Cove Park. That was a recent port project, and it's a wonderful open space. It goes from Crane Cove Park to Indian Basin all the way in the south. So we support diversity of activities at the port, and that all complements a working waterfront and provides economic opportunities. So our working waterfront is along with a commercial, entertainment, and civic activities, and a lot of parks. So it's easy to kind of forget that we are very much also a working maritime port. And so while we're working maritime port, we are balancing public access to our maritime berthing on the piers. We're also working to expand water recreation and promote industrial economic development to protect the integrity of our southern waterfront cargo terminals. And all the while we're doing that, we're looking to promote maritime environmental sustainabilities. One of the ways we're doing that is adding clean electric shore power to support the cruise industry. So we have a wonderful, robust network of waterfront parks and open space, and it goes it's mostly complete along our 7.5 miles of waterfront. And because it's mostly complete, we're focusing a lot on enhancing the recreational use and value we get from all that open space by having park activation and events. We're adding wayfinding to provide information about all of our open space and to help guide people through it. That includes interpretive exhibits and about port history and maritime industry. And one of the projects I'll go over does support that goal. And all of our improvements contribute to the Bay Trail and the Water Trail that go through our property. So this is probably what most of you are interested in coming to this event. And it is showing our upcoming capital construction projects for competitive bid. So again, I'll go from the north to the south, and now I'm looking at my other screen, so I'm not looking at you anymore. And I'll just go through them briefly, and I do have a slide that goes into more detail for each of these 11 projects. So starting in the north, we have Hyde Street Harbor repair and improvements. Moving south to Pier 29.5 and 31, we have a ventilation project. Projects 3 and 4 are on a seawall lot, which is, land to the west of the Embarcadero, and they're at the same building, which is Roundhouse 2. They are working on the building envelope to make it watertight. Moving south from there all the way down to South Beach Harbor, which is at Pier 40, project number 5. We've got a repair project there. Continuing, jumping to Pier 70, which is our former shipyard. We have 2 projects there. And then jumping down further south to Pier 80, we have a fendering and piling project. And then project number 9 shown here, that's Islayas Creek, the water coming in from the bay. This is our interpretive signage project that's enhancing one of our open spaces. And then project number 10 is the Amador Street Pump Station and Roadway Reconstruction. Project 11 isn't shown on here geographically because it could be anywhere in the port. We have many ladders and skylights that need to be upgraded. And so that will be throughout the port property. So talking about each of these individually, going back again to take them in the same order from north to south. The Hyde Street Harbor and Repair Improvement Project addresses deferred maintenance at the Hyde Street Harbor. So in order to, the scope to address that deferred maintenance is concrete repair, welding, wooden whaler replacement, dock hardware replacement, pile sleeves, concrete float repair, and potable water line replacement. We plan to advertise that pretty soon in June of this year, and we estimate construction costs at just over $1 million. Next project to the south is the Pier 29.5 and 31 ventilation project. So this is to install a new ventilation system there. We have public parking in this area, which is why we need ventilation. So the scope is mechanical ventilation, structural supports for this system, and electrical work for the carbon monoxide sensors. We plan to advertise that in September of this year and estimate construction at about $1.5 million. Moving to the two Roundhouse 2 projects. So Roundhouse, there's 3 buildings in the Roundhouse complex, and this is addressing the most recently, it's a historic complex, but Roundhouse 2 is actually a building that was built in the 80s, but it's part of the whole historic complex, which makes it a little bit more complicated to do work on it. So the first of the Roundhouse 2 building envelope projects is a roof replacement. And so the scope is to replace the roof, which involves, removing the existing roof to the concrete deck, repairing that concrete deck, and installing a new roofing system. We plan to advertise that in September of this year and estimate construction at about $900,000. The second Roundhouse 2 building envelope project is replacing the solarium and windows because water is coming in from all of these locations. So the top photo here shows the solarium. It's a pretty cool component of the building, but it does leak. And so we're going to replace the entire solarium. And then the other thing is to replace the windows. So the bottom picture, you can see there's a lot of windows in this building, and they need to be replaced. They've reached the end of their useful life. So we plan to advertise this project in March of 2023, and we estimate that construction will be about $5 million. Jumping much further south now to project number 5, which is the South Beach Marina and Marina Repair and Improvements Project. I think of this as a sister project to the Hyde Street Marina Repair and Improvements. We plan to advertise these separately, but they're going to go concurrently. So this one will also be advertised in June 2022, and its construction estimate is a little over $2 million. And it's very similar work addressing deferred maintenance at the South Beach Marina. Now, starting our 2 Pier 70 shipyard projects. So this is the grading and abatement project. And the scope of it is to remove an underground pipeline that's no longer in use that is contaminated by PCBs, and then regrading existing soil stockpiles that are on site. This picture shows, you can see those piles there, to use that to regrade the unpaved area and then cover it with gravel and to create a level surface with positive drainage. So this one's going out really soon. We're expecting to advertise it next month, and the estimate for construction is $1.3 million. The other project right in this same location, the Pier 70 Shipyard Shoreline and Sediment Project. This is providing stable cover for the exposed shoreline that's just at the edge of the area shown here. I don't know if you can see my pointer, but here, the edge of the area that has the piles of soil. So we're going to install a shoreline revetment in front of those slipways. And so it's going to be marine construction and in-water surveying. So we plan to advertise that in April 2023 and have an estimate of $1.2 million for that work. Project 8 is Pier 80. So it's fendering improvements. So you can see this picture of Pier 80. Cars are parked here. The project is to upgrade the fendering system to allow for a larger variety of vessels that includes roll-on, roll-off ships, maritime vessels, and cruise ships. So the scope is to install new buckling type cone-shaped fenders along the edge of Pier 80 Berth C and to remove the old pilings. We expect to advertise this in January next year, January 2023, and estimate construction at a little over $5.6 million. So this is Laius Creek interpretive signage. So this picture shows Laius Creek. It's part of our open space network, both on the north and south sides of the creek. And so this one is installing interpretive exhibits in this area. And the exhibits will tell the natural, cultural, and maritime history of the area and talk about sea level rise implications. So the scope is making the signs, installing the signs, and there's also going to be an art component. There was a Copra crane in this area when it was, a working shipyard, and part of the crane, the cyclone separator, is being made into an art piece. So the installation of that is included in this project. So we plan to advertise it in August of this year and estimate construction at $425,000. So Amador Street is right in that same neighborhood. And this project is to put in a new pump station and reconstruct the roadway. So the roadway and the pump station have both reached the end of their useful life. If you've ever driven on the roadway, you know that. And there's also, in storm events, there's flooding, which is why we need a new pump station. And so this will replace the existing roadway to meet it up to bring it up to current city standards and upgrade the existing pump station, as well as doing a new existing upgrading the existing sewer force main. So we're going to advertise this in September 2022 and estimate construction at about $8.3 million. So the last project I'm going to go over is the ladders and skylights. So we need to install skylight guards and remove existing non-compliant ladders and install compliant ones. And that might involve some roof patching along the way. So this will be at various locations throughout the port property. So we plan to advertise for this in April 2023 for about $500,000. So there are two other things I wanted everyone to be aware of that aren't specific projects, but so the projects I went over, we expect to advertise for a competitive bid. And I just want to say that we may not do all those projects, and we may also do projects in addition to the ones I just went over. What I went over is is what we know of and what we expect to be doing. The port also does a lot of smaller projects through a job order contract or a JOC, and we use the Public Works JOC. And so I wanted everyone to be aware of that we use that quite often for projects that are valued at under $706,000 for the construction contract. And as I mentioned, that is through Public Works, and Tin-Chi Lee is the contact for the Public Works JOC, and his email and phone number is right there. So they have an existing JOC that was competitively advertised that we're currently using, and they'll do it again. They'll competitively advertise again for a new JOC, and it's when they do it, they typically do a $5 million contract or $3 million for micro LB set aside. And they start out with a 2-year term with an option to extend an additional 3 years for a total 5-year term. I also wanted everybody to know about our as-needed engineering professional services contract. So the port does a lot of our design work through an as-needed engineering professional services contract. We have 4 currently. and we're using them, and we will continue to use them, but they will expire and we'll use up all of the money. And so we're going to go out again to award 4 more contracts to four more teams, and they'll be valued at probably at $4 million each, and they'll have a term of another 4 years. And we expect to do that pretty soon, going out to bid this spring, probably in May 2022. And this is just a list of the services that we use these contracts for. So all different kinds of engineering, mooring and berthing analysis, construction management, all different kinds of inspections and architecture, including historic preservation and ADA work, CAD support services, constructability reviews, specification writing, and utility service location services. So I just gave you a whole lot of information, and I hope that it's that you'll continue to connect with us about all this and get more information. And I'm happy to repeat the information if needed. That you can do the best way to do that, to keep in touch, is to join through our opt-in form, which you can scan this QR code. There's also virtual office hours every 3rd Wednesday of the month from 4 to 5 that Tiffany hosts, and you'll be getting an email after this event that will give you information on how to join the office hours, and I expect how to join, put your information in the opt-in form. And that concludes my presentation. So I don't know, Patty or Tiffany, if there were questions.
Can you hear me okay? Oh,
yes.
We can go for it, Patty.
Okay, thank you so much. So we do have some questions here, Shannon. I do have the first question we do have is, how can we get a copy of this presentation?
I suspect that Tiffany can send it or post it.
This is Stephanie.
And
I can
this
help
is
answer
Tiffany.
that question. Oh, go for it, Tiffany.
Oh, the presentations, the webinars, and all project fact sheets, excuse me, will be available on the port's website next week, and we will send an email out with a link to all of the participants.
Great.
All right. Okay, next question then is, what type of procurement is anticipated for these projects? Design, bid, build, or CMGC?
I'm not expecting to do CMGC for any of these projects. I think it'll be design, bid, build. We might be doing best value as well, instead of exclusively low bid.
Okay. Okay, the next question, Shannon, is, who are the current holders of the professional on-call contracts?
Let's see. We have, I hesitate to just give it off the top of my head because I'm afraid I'm not gonna remember them all. Okay. Okay. I do remember them all, so I can say it. So we have Arcadis Lotus Water JV. I might not remember all of their complete names. Parsons, Terra, and Stantec.
Okay. Okay. Let's see. And it looks like that's the last question we have, unless I missed any. And if I did, if you can just enter your question again in the chat.
Hi, Shannon. This is Stephanie.
Hi.
It's Stantec, McGovern, McDonald.
Thank you.
Can you go through the other ones?
It's Arcadis Lotus Water.
Arcadis Lotus Water, correct.
Parsons.
Parsons, I believe that's Ryan Joyce.
Parsons RJSD.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And Terra.
Terra, yes.
Thanks, Stephanie.
Thanks.
And it looks like we don't have any other questions at this time, Shannon. Again, if I did miss any, if you can just enter your questions again in the chat, and I'll make sure to read them out loud. No, looks like no questions are coming in, Shannon.
Okay. All right, thanks, Patty.